Hi, welcome to the Rod and Cindy podcast. My name is Rod Lyman. How we doing today? We have a nice little group here. We're doing some live podcast at the New Vision Center in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm really excited about this. This is a lot of fun. That we have out in the crowd. We have Carter, and we love him. He's an awesome audience member, and so you'll probably hear him once in a while, which is great. You know, he's cutie, isn't he?
He's adorable. Are you kidding me? His beautiful blue eyes.
Yeah. So,
hi, Carter.
So you may hear him in the background. That and the voice that you just heard. That
he waved back. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, I saw that. The voice that you're listening to, and that's hollering about waving at Carter and everything else, is the one, the only
Cindy Muby. Be our guest. Be our guest. Oh. Wrong princess.
Yeah.
But she's a pretty one too, Bella.
Is that Cinderella?
No, that's Bella.
Oh, that's Bella.
The other Ella.
The other Ella. Gotcha.
I like to go by Cinderella.
I know.
Cinderella.
You and our next guest we're singing and dancing. You guys are a lot of fun,
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff in that, and it's beautiful. And Carter wants to sing and dance with you guys. And
He does.
He does. Isn't that cute? Is that?
Absolutely. So do you think people get tired of me saying Cinderella?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the fifth time today. It's just introduce yourself as Cinderella.
I know, but it's so cute.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Oh, Carter got taken out.
I know.
Oh.
He's going to be a year and 2 weeks from now, right?
He is going to be a year on March 7th.
What did I say?
2 weeks.
Yeah, a year and 2 weeks, right? A year in 2 weeks from now.
Right, so March 7th he
I
will
think
be.
that's just a few days from now.
Actually, you're right.
It?
Today is the second.
Yeah, do you believe that?
I know. Yeah, time's flying. Oh, and that beautiful voice you just heard is our beautiful and special guest, Christine Nicole.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're absolutely happy to have you, honey. Did you notice the little guy here in front of you?
Oh, what is that?
What is that?
That is Rod, the inspirational talk speaker.
Oh.
Yeah, he supposedly looks like me. So he's our new mascot.
Put your glasses on, then she can
see.
Yeah,
You
let
see,
me see.
see, put
Let
the
me see.
glasses on, see.
Okay, a little bit. All right.
He's got his glasses on.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay.
There's
it's
a
very
little-
cute, though, I will
Oh,
admit.
thank you. Oh my gosh! So this special guest we have today, she's got all these beautiful gifts, and that besides being very beautiful, and having a very beautiful child, is Carter and everything else. That
And mom, too.
Oh, yeah.
Mom's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, your mom's gorgeous. I think it's because it's the hair. You like her hair, your mom's
Yeah.
hair, don't you?
I
It's
just
kind of
love
like
her
yours. Okay. Anyway, hi, honey.
Hello.
So, what kind of gifts do you have?
Well, I am a psychic medium, which means that I help people figure out kind of their future and where it's headed. And then mediumship means that I connect with people that have crossed over. And then kind of the third part of my job is I'm really great at giving advice. So a lot of times when people get psychic readings, they say, well, that sounds great in theory, but where do I actually go from there, and how do I make that happen in my everyday life? So my job is to kind of also give you advice and direction of where to move forward in your life. I believe in co-creating your own life. So it's very important that clients leave, for me, with the feeling of hope and success moving forward in their life. And so that's very important.
Oh, that is important. How long have you known you could do this?
I'm pretty sure since birth, but at 2 years old is when my family knew that I was a medium, and my mom was potty training me. And actually, it's kind of the short version of it is that my mom's father passed away when she was in her 20s, and they didn't actually, I was adopted, so adopt me until they were in their 40s, and her stepfather is my grandpa, and so they had never spoke of her father. Gets a little complicated there, but her father. And so when she was potty training me, we were in the bathroom, and I said, Mom, do you hear your dad singing? And she said, oh, you mean Grandpa? And I said, no, your dad. So right there, she knew something was different. And I actually gave her a full reading and I kept saying his eyes over and over again. And to find out, well, she knew, but later he died of lupus, and the only thing that they could donate was his eyes. So it was like really special to the family about his eyes, but they had never even spoke of him, his name, anything. I knew his name. He followed me around as a child.
Oh,
So
wow.
I saw angels a lot, and so I would say, Mom, do you see that angel over there? And she would go, yeah, Yeah, sure I do.
Aw.
Isn't that beautiful? Describe it to me. So I would also read people's minds. So we'd be in dentist offices, and I would say exactly what the hygienist was thinking, and they would take step backs and, oh my gosh, did I say that out loud? My mom would say, no, I have an intuitive child. We're working on social boundaries right now. I'm not speaking that kind of stuff. So it was definitely interesting growing up with gifts. It was hard and a blessing all at the same time. As a child, it's so much to take in, and I do worry about Carter being very intuitive as well, because the toys will just go off out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, there's spirits in the house, like, you gotta tell your baby friends to go away, it's almost time for nap time, or it's time for bedtime, and so you'll see him kind of just be like, okay, you can leave now, and then if they come back and they play, he kind of does that little side smile like, haha, you're still here. And when he was a newborn too, he would do this thing where he would just cry in the middle of the night, like in the middle of a sleep. And so I would have to just put my hand over him, and he didn't wake up. You could just see his face. And I said, you don't have to save the world. You just have to take a nap right now.
Right.
And so he would just completely calm down and go right back to sleep.
Oh,
So
wow.
blessing, he has the gifts, but also it's like, okay, but you get to rest and you get to be
Right.
have nap time.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I just have to say one thing real quick, that your mom was a blessing to you then as a child, that she, even if she didn't understand, she understood enough to support, who you were and what you're going through, what you're seeing, feeling, and hearing, etc. I think that's quite the blessing all in itself. You hear these stories where parents are like, like in Rod's case, his parents are like, shh, don't say anything, and a lot of these kids, had these beautiful gifts and couldn't say nothing. You can only be seen but not heard type of deal. And I think that's wonderful that your mom, accepted what you had and still have, of course, and allowed it to play out, and teaching you as well the boundaries like you had mentioned. I think it's great. I just wanted to put a plug in for Pat.
Yeah, she's my biggest fan, but I do resonate with that. When I was 15, I think I was 15, she got remarried, and she married a man that was a Christian and didn't want any part of my gifts, thought it was witchcraft, and he told my mom to tell me that it was fake. So for almost a whole year, because I think they were only married a year, she told me my gifts were fake, that they weren't real, that she had made all this stuff up with me, and it was really difficult for that whole year, because I kept saying like, well, wait a second, I did all this great stuff, and she was like, no, you had a dream. It was really hard. And then after they divorced, she did realize that she made a huge mistake, and that my gifts were really a blessing to me, and that she had to be more open. And so that's when she admitted that the ex-husband kind of not forced her but persuade her, and so that she apologized for that part of our life. So and we've now done a lot of forgiveness work around that, but throughout my whole life, I think that she's been very supportive of my gift, and I do appreciate that, but at the same time she doesn't understand it. So it's been like a lot of cross boundaries of, why would you feel that way? And if she, as a minor, she would lie to me, and I would say, well, like every parent does, right? Like, you don't tell your kid every single thing because it's, not above their age. Is that how you say it? Or below
Correct.
their, yeah.
Right.
So not age category wise. And so she would say,
Age appropriate.
age appropriate. Thank you. I can't
There
even
you
get
go.
the word out. I'm so mad about it. No. But she would say stuff, and I would say, well, you're lying. And she would say, well, no, I'm not. And then I would call her on it. And then she was like, okay, fine. Maybe that is the truth, And so as a parent, you also don't tell your child when you're upset all the time.
Right.
You hide that kind of stuff. And all the time I would say, well, you're upset about something. And she would say, no, I'm not. And so we would have to get to the root of the issue. So I think it was hard for her having an intuitive child.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I bet.
Well,
I'm sure
the
it's
same-
challenging for her.
Oh,
Exactly
absolutely.
right. Sorry,
We
go
have
ahead.
3 children that were intuitive and everything else too. The same thing is you couldn't hide anything from them. It's just, they felt everything. And, a lot of children do that. And, I love that you embrace that, and you and your mom know that you can't hide anything from people that you love. And there's some things that you don't want to see, and you kind of let it go. But yeah, I'm glad you embrace that. You just have to remember that with Carter too, growing up, that you can't hide anything from Carter.
Yeah.
He's gonna see and feel everything too. And
We actually have classes and we talk about raising an intuitive child. My mother and I co-team on that. And one of the biggest things that we tell parents is always speak the truth, because
Absolutely.
they understand that lie. And I mean, even now as adults, how many times does even a friend just not want to discuss something, right? And they say, I'm fine. And other people will say, well, they're fine. They're just tired. And we're like, no, this is the issue. Like, let us help you. And so being a parent that has an intuitive child, it's better just to be honest and say, hey,
Right.
you know what? Today's not my day, and that's okay too. But I
Right.
appreciate you trying to be there for
So
me.
where do you do these classes at?
Well, we've done them a lot at our psychic fairs, and
Right,
then
okay.
we've done them at Purple Lotus Fair as well. And so we're thinking about writing a book and starting more of like a workshop setting. So
Yeah.
we have a
Nice.
lot of parents that are like, well, I need you. I need to just feel supported in the community. I'm in a
Absolutely.
community where they don't understand the gifts in public school. And half of the class is intuitive, because
Right.
these little spirits are coming in and they're even almost more gifted than the three of us sitting here. I mean, they have
Amen.
some amazing, strong gifts, and we're already strong, right? So just think of that energy being even stronger is like almost too intense for even me,
Right.
So Carter came in a really cool way. He was adopted, and he was just always meant to be part of my family. And so, but he showed up in a sun. Do you remember the sun picture of him that he
Yes.
actually showed up in the
Yeah.
sun?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's-
yeah, yeah.
And his big blue eyes and little
Yes,
cheeks.
yes,
and
yes.
I was like, I think this is my unborn child. And people are like, sure it is. And I mean, you can see there is a baby. I mean, it's not pushing it. There was a baby in the
Right.
photo,
Right.
but more in like the clouds and the sun. But then when he was born, now everyone's like, oh my goodness, that was Carter. Like, there's no denying the
Well, there
two
wasn't,
photos
no.
together. So
Oh, that's great.
it's amazing
Yeah,
how they
yeah.
come in, those little intuitives.
So you mentioned the Phoenix Psychic Fair, and that you're pretty big into that, aren't you?
Yeah, so we own the Arizona Psychic Fairs, and that has been such a blessing to own that and know so many different light workers. We actually live in Prescott, so we don't even live in a small town. And so it's exciting to be part of that, because I'm around people that inspire me to be a better psychic. They inspire me to do more spiritual growth, and it's just like-minded people. And so to kind of be the boss of that group is nice, because I'm not a very how do I say it? I'm not a great follower, right? I'm more like
The leader.
yeah. And so it's been incredible. My mom says, I couldn't have paid for a better college education for you to just like
Oh, sweet.
have your own business and do this. And actually, that's what I was going to say earlier about my mom being my biggest fan. I fell into really bad depression, and I was just not doing well. And this was about 5 years ago now. And she said to me, all right, what makes you happy? What makes you happy? We've tried everything. We've tried sports. We've tried different friends. We've tried moving. I mean, my mom's done singing lessons, which didn't work out very well, I mean, she's done everything to try to just basically make me happy at some level, like that inner happiness
Right, exactly.
that you want for your children. And I said, only when I'm a medium. That's it. When I'm a medium, that's when I'm happy. And she said, all right, let's make business cards. Let's get you the best training in the world. Let's do whatever it takes to get you to be a psychic medium. If that's what makes you happy, I'm in. And so that's what she did. And so we actually, Maggie Norden, who's now engaged to Jamie.
Yes, yes.
She actually took a chance on me, and she had a company called Spirit in Motion, and they did expos. And I came into her shop and I said, I want to be a reader. And she said, okay. Let's see what you can do. And she gave a lot of patience and love, and I gave a really great reading. I communicated with her dog. I didn't even know I could communicate with dogs at that
Wow.
point, which is not my thing. I don't do animals, but it was just amazing to expand that. And so she put me in her expo, and that's how it all started for me. So
Oh,
Maggie's part of my big
wonderful.
story in
I
that.
love Maggie. And we're going to see her tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're doing a panel with Jamie and
Oh.
Mozella and that. I'm excited about that because
And Jamie Clark is one of my mentors, actually, because he is one of the best of the best. And so my mom wanted me to be trained
Right.
and educated on my gift. And the way he describes my gift is I would go in to mediumship and not really know that much, and I was just feeling, so it was like, oh crap, who's coming in, like, let's see what happens. And so he really got me to kind of say, okay, where are we going with this gift, and how do you actually use it in a healthy dynamic for a business wise?
Right.
Because when people come into a psychic medium, they want an accurate reading. They
Absolutely.
don't want you to be in a sense, they don't want you to be training. They're paying you professionally to give the best you can. So I have about a 98% accuracy, so that's pretty good in my
that's
readings
really
to
great.
know
Absolutely.
like everything. And so I'm very thankful for that, but it's not a lot of pressure, but I guess it is, right? Because I always have to be on my A game. I always have to be the best channeler available. And so even if I'm having an off day and I'm not feeling good, and this has only happened a couple of times, to be honest, but I have had to reschedule my clients just because I have to be completely
Right, 'cause you
centered.
didn't feel
And
it.
I told them that,
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm having such an off day. I have to reschedule. They said, no, I want you to reschedule. Thank you for actually
Absolutely.
doing that.
Yep.
So
No.
I tried not to reschedule.
Well, that's really amazing. I'm just going to tell you, dear, that because I know what an amazing reader you are yourself, that I get to see energy and I get to feel it, and I get to see that you have this amazing gift, and hands down, I think you're one of the best. I mean, that I
Thank you.
see. And I'm going to tell you that even when you're not at your A game, you're still over 100%.
Aw.
And I'm going to say
I
that
agree.
some of the other mediums that I know and that can't hold a candle to some of the things that I've seen that you have, and there's some pretty amazing people out there that I know myself, and that you don't give yourself enough credit for who you are, because you are an amazing person.
Aw, thank you.
The thing is, it's funny is that we go to your fairs, and everything else and there's always this table with your name on it, and nobody's ever there.
I know. It's always funny to see that.
It's always empty, and it's like, because you're running around doing other things that you don't get to use your gifts. You're running around making sure you're putting all the fires out and everything else. And I always told Cindy, it's like, she just needs to sit down, and you need to just allow everything to happen around you, because you're so good at what you need. You need people to hear what you have to say.
Thank you. I actually do take my clients outside a lot.
I've seen that too. Yes.
But yeah, more than less, I definitely am running around running the fair. My mom actually just mentioned that the other day. She's like, okay, do you really want to have that front booth? Because you're like not there and it's missing energy. And so she did say that. So it's interesting that you're bringing that up again. Validation for myself.
Absolutely.
So
Yes. So I have a question for you, honey. So I'm going to put you on the spot because you are so amazing. Is there something you feel in this room about one of us or anybody out in the crowd, and that you feel in somebody's energy or anything else? I know you're always drawn to Cindy for everything. So is there something you're feeling?
I am drawn to Cindy, but that's because I want her to own her power more. And so a lot of times when I'm with her, I will just talk her up, and I do fully believe everything that's coming out of my mouth. But I feel like sometimes I'm over dramatic with the compliments, and Cindy kind of looks at me and she's like, thank you. Okay. But it's because I don't think you have a lot of people in your life that kind of build you up. They do, but they don't. Does that make sense? Like sometimes, not you. So
She's pointing at me,
yeah,
by the way.
no. But there are people that in our circle feel like they build us up, but there's a lot of jealousy that stems from that. And so what happens is they're building you up, but they're energetically absolutely not building you up.
They're
So you're
tearing you
feeling
down,
that,
yep.
right? Like that miscommunication of, oh, I am beautiful, or I am something special, or I am in my own power. But where's that not so much either? And so that comes from like the circle of the people that we hang around. It's so important. All light workers are with people that really are happy for them, like want them to truly succeed. And for me, I've had to cut out a lot of people in my life just in the last couple of months being a new mom, right? That's like being a new mom takes you a step back and you're like, wait a second, a lot of things aren't working in my life. So, but you have to have people that are really inspiring you and talking you up. And so a lot of times, Cindy, you're like that beautiful person that kind of sits in the back and they shine the light for everybody else, but it's like your time to stand in your power, like 2018, let's go. Come on.
Super me.
Super me. Thank you so much. And I know I probably sound like a broken record. Poor Rod, he hears it all the time, but I really feel like when I stepped into this year, 2018, I've been really feeling that, and there's some things that I'm trying to resolve as we speak, so that can come about. I think even more. You know, I think once I do some cleaning house, let's just say, I think it'll be more ready, available. And I feel that. I felt it for quite a while, and maybe it's just divine timing. Maybe it's, my own self-worth and courage and et cetera, and listening to people like you and Rod and a few other, many others out there, sharing what they feel and see within and or around me. And it really helps to encourage me, because I've said before, I don't quite see and feel everything that you all do. So it's a challenge for me.
Oh, well, that's a lie. You do feel everything
I-
that we feel.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
and
you,
right
Christy.
there. You
Well-
just, you're kind of putting yourself down and putting us on a pedestal saying, well, we get more than you. That's really, you probably get more than the two of us sometimes, and so you have to really own that. And the thing is, it's okay to be wrong. Like, what if you make a comment about somebody or something or situation and you're wrong? Oh, well, you learned that
Yeah.
wasn't the right energy. That wasn't the yes or no in the answer. So you're learning. But we're not better than you. We're equal completely. But you also see and hear and feel and don't fib me. You can't fib a psychic.
Thank
It's just
you.
not going to happen.
Thank you.
Remember
Exactly.
we just talked about truth?
Yes. we see the truth in you, Cindy.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, thank you.
So can you restate that statement again for me?
Are you going to bleep it all out?
No. I mean for the crowd. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
for the crowd.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know what it was I said, to replace, but I should, I guess, then say thank you, and I will honor what I have and step into my power.
Yeah, and also you're just learning right now about your gift and yourself, and that's okay. So we're not seeing or hearing more than you. You're just learning about how you see and hear things.
Fair enough. I can accept that.
That's
Thank
a
you.
very good way of putting
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That was
Very,
good. Thank you.
Yeah. And almost in a textbook type of explanation, and that's like a coloring book, and which you are a color therapist. Then is that what she just said? Is that you're just finally seeing the colors and what they mean to you?
Oh,
And
yes.
so she's awesome, honey.
That was greatly put.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
I personally know a lot of your clients, and they think you're amazing. So I would
Wow, thank
let
you.
some of that go of, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? You know what I'm saying. I'm going to stop putting you on the spot. But you get
No,
it.
you're fine. You're fine. I appreciate it. I really do. It just, bumps me up that much more on a personal level for all this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Anything else, honey? You see, Phil?
No, not right now.
Awesome.
I was going to say something about you, but that's okay. I think I'm going to just send you love.
Oh, is it something bad? Am I dying?
No.
Am I dying? I would die.
Don't quote
right?
me. I don't know. No, I don't do death.
Well, we're all
like
dying.
that.
Quote
Yeah.
me? Is that what you said?
You're not getting out alive. I can tell you that. But
Ooh.
Are you serious? I'm not immortal?
no.
Really? I'm
You
immortal?
know what? I think I would take that pill or drink the water. I think I would. Sometimes I think
immortal?
I wouldn't stay. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you have a
Uh-huh.
hard day, you're like, oh, maybe I should just. Why did I choose this route? But then other times I'm like, I would drink the water or
I-
eat the pill if I could live forever. Yeah. In my
Seriously?
20s, like I'm almost 30, but like 27, 28, just stay there forever. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Would
Oh,
you? Would
no.
you take the pill?
I would, but I'd be more in my 30s because it feels
Yeah.
a little bit more balanced.
Right.
Not too young, not too old, just a nice balance.
Yeah.
Like a little bit old, like 37, 30, like 38 special.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll take the number 30 special.
Hey.
Would you take the pill or drink the
Oh,
water?
heck no.
You are ready to go when
I'm
it's
done.
your time.
I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, I know that the universe isn't going to tell. I can say that, as blatant as I want, the universe isn't ready to take me yet. And I'm not ready to go. But, I get jealous when people pass over and they're like, seriously? It is.
Wow.
I've had, 2 or 3 near-death experiences already. And coming back from each one of those, it's like, that was beautiful. The near-death experiences are beautiful on the other side. I'm not scared of dying.
Because it's pretty on the other side, huh?
It is.
The
It is.
divine love.
Well, you were with me. You saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole nother story.
We've actually had a lot of our other light workers in our community pass over, and that's been interesting to kind of just see boom, 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 boom. And I've been trying to figure out, like, for myself, at least what the message is for me. And I think a lot of those people that I have seen pass over recently is from not filling up their own cup. So, right, like they're always taken care of. They're being the best light worker they know how to be. we all have our own feelings on them. It's just like, but they were doing what they thought was the right thing always, and always for everybody else. And then what happens is nobody's filling up their cup. Nobody's telling them that they're beautiful and they can shine, and that's really hard.
Oh, it is. It really is.
And I think that all three of us can resonate with that,
Absolutely.
right? And probably a lot of the listeners as well. So actually, we lost Michael Young, who was a radio station host. Yeah. Journey into Your Light. I miss him. Oh, makes me cry.
I know. Me too.
And so I looked at Michael's life, I knew him more on a personal level because I co-host with him. And what a blessing that was in an experience. But he really just gave to everybody else. Like, he was a caregiver for his wife, and she's ill, and and then the radio station and giving back to the homeless. He did all these beautiful fundraisers, and it's such an amazing thing that he offered the world. But who was filling up his cup? I know his wife loves him, and I know his kids were fantastic. I'm very aware of that. But was the public giving him? Because I know when people would write in and say, like, I guess there were trolls on the radio station, or however you say that, he would just get so upset about them. And so, I hope he knows how loved he is.
Well, I take every opportunity I have to tell people what's from my heart. I always tell you how beautiful you are. I always tell Cindy how beautiful it is. And
Every day. Thank you.
And I always tell, the people out there in the crowd that I love and dear, that they are loved. And I want them to know that it's, when I look at a person, it's not me looking at them in a physical sense. It's I look at somebody from the inside out. And so when I tell you how beautiful you are, it's me saying how beautiful you're inside. And I think that is what you're talking about, is that filling their cup up, is that their love bucket is empty inside, because you could have all the friends in the world and feel the loneliest person in the world. Mm-hmm. And that's has been a lot of cases of that we have, is that because you're not internally getting what you need. And so it is.
Well, you need to be doing, a lot of my clients have this issue, and what it really comes down to, of what I figured out so far, is that you need to be living your soul's purpose. So we are very fortunate that our soul purpose is our career, right? But we still need to be having fun, right? Because our soul purpose is more about helping and catering to everybody else at some level, and we love that. We wouldn't change that about ourselves for a second, but we need to be going and having fun and doing other things. Mm-hmm. Where some people that aren't doing their career as their sole purpose are in that stuck zone, where they're going, wait a second, nobody's filling up my cup, the people around me aren't doing it, for whatever reason, if you have toxic people around you, or like you said, that inner stuff isn't working, and so the biggest thing is to go and do stuff that actually fills up your cup, even if that's roller skating or bowling or skydiving, if you're crazy fun, but you have to be doing a radio show. I mean, whatever makes you smile, you got to be filling that up, because as we know now, other people don't fill up our cup. We fill up our cup.
Absolutely.
And it sucks sometimes, right? Because we look for other people, like, please give me that inner love. I was checking on the baby there.
Yeah, Luke Carter just went by again. So anyway, I have to tell you something, that if you guys are hearing other voices in the background of that, it's interesting, as I'm hearing a male voice every once in a while that's coming through the headset here, and it's like they want us to talk, and it's like a radio, it's like shh, and then their voice will come through, and it's really interesting to be hearing that, because it's not hooked to any radio or anything else than that. So we're picking up outside energies that is coming, that want to speak through us and everything. Are you feeling any of that?
If anything, it's probably a family member of mine, because they tend to hang out with me and want to support me. But I was not hearing the voice, so that means I'm too connected to it, because a lot of times I can't see my family or feel them, because I'm still in that, I guess what would be considered the grieving, right? We go through the 7 cycles over and over again, depending on what goes on in our life. But my dad did pass, so it could be him. Yeah. My grandpa. We were talking about my grandpa.
It's a male.
Earlier.
It's a male energy. It's a male person that's talking that. I know you're from Prescott area and that, but this person is actually, it sounds like he's from Payson area and everything else as a male, and that I don't know. It's really interesting. Is that I picked up Payson and I picked up male and everything else. And that, so, but I'm not sure why. I hear it pacing in my head. But anyway, it's really interesting to actually hear this voice and everything else too. That's trying to come through in that journey. We've had some crazy stuff. We've had cameras turn on today, while we're doing the podcast and that.
True.
And you actually have to flip the switch to turn it on. So, but you get us all of this energy in here, you're going to have something happen, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get back to you beautiful you, and that, what is it like to be a psychic medium? Cindy and I both being intuitive and everything, having children and that. But what is it like to have a realization at a young age and having a young child and that? What is it like to have? What is your life like, having that baby in your life and being a psychic medium and just knowing things?
And a
I
mom.
would say that my life is actually pretty busy, probably maybe even compared to most, just because it's like you basically have, a radio station times 5 in your ears all the time. So everything's coming at you, all this information, and it's kind of up to me to say, no, I don't want that information, or this information is valuable to my life at the moment. And that's with every second, literally, not just. So my mom always says I'm always thinking. Like, I just never turn off my brain at night even. And that is kind of an issue, like sleeping for me. I don't really sleep as well as most people, but I always have to sleep like more than 8 hours. Like, if I can't just sleep for I can't take a nap for 2 hours. I'm not one of those kind of people, because when I shut off, I have to completely shut off.
Right.
And as a mom, I would say that it's interesting because I parent very different, Carter. I'm very I talk to him all the time. Like, I tell him why we're doing certain things, or I just have, I would say that I have a very different way of parenting than majority of the people in my life. So sometimes they'll look at me and they'll be like, why did you do that? Or why are you doing that? And I'll explain to them that I just think it's the right thing. And I've talked to Carter about it, and him and I have discussed it, and that's what we're going to do. And so it's really about me owning my power and being like, this is my child. He chose to come through me. He couldn't come through me, so he had to go through somebody else. And that makes our relationship even more powerful, because it's like, there's a little soul sitting in heaven that said, oh, I can't go through her to have her be my mom, so I have to use somebody else as a vessel to get all the way back to her. And so it's made me, I wouldn't say love him more than people that have given birth, but adoption is a very different thing. It's a very, you're born from the heart. And so with him, we're very heart-centered, always together. So when I'm away from him, I'm like, oh, my baby, he misses me. Or I know when he misses me. And that's another hard thing. If he's with grandma or he's with a friend, it's like I can hear my kids say, I miss you, where most parents have to kind of tune that out and go do their errands or work. And I can hear my little boy go, Mommy. And I'm like, oh. And if I'm with clients, I tell him, okay, I'll be, 2.5 hours, and this is what time I'm going to get back. And you can hear him. If I'm 5 minutes late, he's like, wow, where's Mom?
Wow.
And I'm like,
that's cool.
Oh. And it's such a blessing, right?
Yeah,
but then on the
absolutely.
flip side, you're like, where do I get a break?
Right.
Yeah, right.
I don't really get a leeway, and it's the same way. Yeah, I would say that I'm very busy, but don't you guys feel busy in your everyday lives? I mean, I'm sure everybody does, but there's different of being a light worker. It's like we really never turn off. I know they talk about turning the dial and the radio down, but I mean, I don't know if you saw my Facebook post yesterday, but there was a spirit in my security camera.
Right, yeah.
And somebody said they saw 3. I saw 2 pretty clear. And a lot of people were posting. My friends were like, oh my gosh, they're always around you. Ooh, do you ever get a break? No. Somebody
No.
else called me a spirit concierge. They're just standing in line
Spirit
waiting for
concierge.
me.
I
So
like that.
it's it feels like a lot. I mean, even just going to a trip of Costco, especially with the energy being so thick right now and a little on the dramatic side in general of a society, going even just shopping or anything is very draining on me, because I'm picking up everybody's stuff. And me, I want to heal everybody at whatever capacity I'm capable.
Exactly.
Send them love, send them light. And that's such a, maybe a cliche thing that we say all the time, send love, but I feel like you and I especially, we always are trying to send love. That's really who we are, and it's one of our most beautiful gifts, but it also at some level is something that there's boundaries with that, right? Because you're
absolutely.
giving love to everybody, but who's giving love back to you? you know.
way. No, Cindy doesn't love me at all.
Whatever.
You love me, Christy, don't you?
Yes.
See, she gives
Cindy
me love.
loves you.
So I think Susie loves me more than. Yeah, see, Susie's shaking her head. No, it's different. It's a different type of aspect. What you said about we are never at rest. Our spirit's never at rest. The more we become attuned to who we are, the less rest we get, and that means our physical body has to match our spiritual body instead of our spirit matching our physical. Our spiritual made our physical to experience what we need to experience. And so if we get exhausted and tired in the physical world, that's because we're using way too much of our own energy.
Yeah, it's true. It's
If
true.
we use the spirit's energy and the universal energy to give love out, it's easy.
One of my mentors told me that really good psychic mediums are always a little overweight. Now, I need to lose some weight, I'm not going to lie, but they're always a little pudgy, and that's because you have to remain grounded. And I thought, like, oh, that's just like her coughing out about my weight. But it's true. It really is. Like, a lot of the best psychics you see have a little weight on them. Not maybe unhealthy, there's a difference, right? But just a little pudge, because we just have to physically stay completely grounded, because we can just rise straight up if we were thin.
Well, okay, I kind of differ with that. Okay, first of all, I don't see their body types or anything else, because that's not what I see in a person. Until you point something out, I'm not going to see it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Part of how much you love, yeah,
Exactly.
that makes sense.
That's exactly. I don't see something. You have to tell me that you're this, that before I'll
Right.
even see it.
Because you see the soul, not the
Absolutely,
physical.
and that's how I live my life. But okay, so imagine as if a bodybuilder works his muscle that gets bigger and bigger, and so does our soul as we work it and bring it closer in that. And our body realizes that and tries to fit the soul. As the soul grows in strength, our body thinks it has to expand to fit that spirit. And that's that part of that. It's like, I agree that there's some of the most amazing intuitives in that, tell me that they're overweight. It's not that, because if you see their spirit, you see this great big light, this huge light behind them and everything else. That's what I'm seeing. It's like, the physical body's nothing in that. And,
And I wish that was so true in our society. I really do wish that people saw, especially somebody who struggles with their weight, people for who they truly are and not that physical part.
Amen.
But it's really not our society. And even though we try so hard to bring that to surface as light workers, and there's more kind of, the last couple of years has really been about just people in general coming into their own gifts, like being like, wait, there's something more to life. I'm seeing things, I'm feeling things. But as a society at this point, we are still so focused on body image and sexuality and all that stuff. And so hopefully, even by the time Carter goes to middle school, I'm praying that we get to a point where we're seeing the soul like you are. But you're an old soul, so you're coming around over and over again, and you're seeing what life is really about, where a lot of people are still surface level.
Right.
And so it's unfortunate.
Well, it is. And to me, I've grown up that I was in a very sheltered life, I guess, because I grew up thinking everybody saw people this way. And I was really hurt to realize that not everybody sees people that way. That people see them in a different aspect, that this is not my type, this is not my type, and that, and you never taste the love, and that's the part of it, is that we use all our senses for everything and that, but nobody ever talks about tasting the love, and there is a taste to it. There's a sensibility to it, and that it's like, close your eyes and taste love. You see more about the real person if you close your eyes and meet that person.
True.
And I love it. Is that the accuracy of that is that when a person comes into your life and you see them for what's in their heart, and that they're the most beautiful people, and I grew up in not so nice of a type of life, that not everybody was nice about that, but I still see the beauty in them and everything else. So if you need to close your eyes and just feel and hear and taste. That's a kind of important thing. I know we got kind of off the subject about the mom and psychic. But
it was a good subject.
It is, yeah. It's actually
Being a parent and
right.
a medium, yeah.
So how about you and Cindy? Christy brought that up, that you're also a mom and intuitive, and that. What kind of things did that play in your life?
Well, I had a little noise here. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, no, once I was growing within myself and who myself is and learning and etc., I, shared it with my boys and to allow them to see and feel and understand, just in case they were, whether I don't know if they were or not, but they joined in on my reindeer games, and it was really cool, because I know these kids, are very gifted, and these millennials are just really something out there. I mean, in a good way, and maybe a different way. No, I'm kidding. They're sweet. They're beautiful. And for me to just be a mom, to allow them to be open to that, just in case, they're going through experiences, they're not sure. I felt like that was kind of cool on my part. I felt like the cool mom to show this and produce this, share this with my kid.
Well,
But to also share my gifts with the others out there is, wonderful too. And so go ahead. What are you going to say?
No, I was just going to, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was
No,
gonna
you're fine.
Absolutely not.
talk about millenniums for a second, because a lot of people say, per se, negative things about new millenniums, but I have a
Not me.
No, I have a very different take on it. I think that they are the new energy coming in. And I think that when people say that they feel entitled, I think that we're looking at it from like a 1950s to a now, and we work for everything we get, and that's so important, right? Like, you can't take, you have to give back to the world too. But I think that there was a level of society for so long that thought that our only job was to give and not receive. And I think new millenniums are coming in and they're going, but the receiving feels good. That's nice. So now the newer kids, like even 5 and below, are coming in and they're showing that balance. So you can give and you can receive. So it's the one extreme to the other, and now these little ones are coming in and showing the balance. And then my mom makes this joke all the time in our Intuitive Kids program, is just that I was the kind of kid that if an adult was wrong, I would say that, and people would say, you can't talk back to adults. And I would say, I'm not talking back. I'm just telling you that you're absolutely wrong in the situation. And my mom would be like, oh, we don't do that, But then she realized that I was going to do it anyway, because that was my soul saying you're wrong. And raising Carter now, I'm like, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you know everything. And
Right.
I don't think that a child should interrupt and be rude and condescending.
Right, absolutely.
I would not encourage that. But can they speak their truth? Can they say that they believe in a different opinion? Why would we raise our kids to be anything other than
Absolutely.
that?
Right.
You want them to speak their truth. Yes, balance, kindness, love with what they're saying, no matter what it is. But you don't want them to not speak their truth, right? That's how we've had different situations come up where people haven't said their truth and filled up their own cup, and then they have addictions, right?
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
There you go.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the nose. It's, I raised my children that way to express themselves and, tell me if I'm wrong, and everything else. That I tell you what, it's a cold slap in your face when you have a child come back at you and act more like a parent than you do yourself. And it's like, whoa. Because, my society growing up and my family was a child was seen but not heard, that type of thing. And courtesy was everything and that. And I kind of wanted to change all that. I mean, I didn't want to abuse my children. I didn't want to spank them. I didn't want to beat them and everything else. But I wanted them to feel free to speak what they need to speak. And they do. And sometimes it feels a little harsh sometimes, but it's a good harsh. You know what I'm saying?
The new millenniums also, they're not going to back down.
Nope.
And part of that is that extreme that I'm talking about. They can't back down who they are, because if they did, then they would become some of the issues that we're already seeing with the society as a whole. So they have to come in, be the extreme, we're this, we're that, blah, blah. And then the 5-year-olds come in, less than 5, and they bring in that balance. So it has to happen. And for my mom, I'm only 27, and, she'd be like, stop, like, calm down. But it's like, but I couldn't. It was
Right.
just part of my soul journey. And
Absolutely.
after, as a parent, she accepted who I am
Mm-hmm.
and said, you know, to be honest, you really suck at this, this, and this. Like, that is just not your thing, even though it was her thing and she wanted it for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my thing. I'm over here a businesswoman. She's a businesswoman, you know, so she appreciated that part of me. But there are other parts of me that she's like, I don't like that. I don't want you to be that. No. But once she finally said, okay, I love who you are and I'm just going to accept you. And you may not be exactly who I need you to be as your parent, but I need you to be you. That's all that matters. And once we got to that point, she has been my best friend, biggest fan. I mean, we've had our issues. You know, I put her on a pedestal because she is the best mother for me. I couldn't have asked for a better mom. But she's also, we've had that mother-daughter dynamic. Like, she's out in the hall probably going, yeah, we have many, many times. But it's so important when you appreciate your child. And then on the flip side, you appreciate your parents for what they actually brought to the table for you. You end up having this phenomenal relationship with the mother-child. We were just reading this book. I think it's called The Light is the New Black, something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
It's so good. And she talks about how she chose her parents and how, like, she viewed them prior and, like, all this stuff. Then she had this past life regression, and then she ended up seeing them, like, she got to choose who her parents were, so there were like 3 different choices. And it was interesting the way that she described her parents in that description, because it showed why she chose them. Instead of seeing all the bickering and all the chaos and the everyday, you know, do this, do that, she
Right.
saw them for actually what they brought to the table. And I would have picked them, you know, out of the 3 choices. And so when I did that with my mom, and I was like, look at all the amazing things I've got to experience by being her daughter, I'm like, I would choose her every time,
Oh,
every
absolutely.
single time. And my
Absolutely.
dad, he passed away, but I would choose him too.
Nice. Very nice.
You know, that's interesting. Is that's for another conversation, because you know, I think we all choose our parents and
our life too.
and
Yeah.
our life, exactly. I think there's contracts that we have to go through, but that's a whole nother thing. I want to get more about you, and because we have just a little bit of time left, I want you to tell me what it would be like to have a session with you.
So you can do over the phone or come to Prescott in my office, and you sit down with me, and I ask you to write down questions. That's the first step. So you put your first name and your questions. And depending on how many minutes you have, I really try to get to all the questions. We have a conversation. I channel spirit if that's what's needed. If you're looking for mediumship, if you're looking for psychic, I tell you what I see. A lot of times I do try to find 2 visions in the reading, so that way it kind of lets you co-create your life instead of me just coming at you and telling you you're going to have 2 kids. This is how it's going to be. Sometimes you're right. There are things in our soul contract that are going to be, people say, I don't want kids. I'm like, you're going to have a kid. Like, just let it go now, and let's be happy about that. And we talk about those, why you don't want kids, and, you know, And I really get into the root of the problems, because I think the most important thing for me as a psychic is to understand your past of why you are the way you are now, and have no judgment and respect in that, so that you can feel comfortable and go, she's not judging me. She's just trying to say, look at it from a different angle.
Right.
So, and then, you know, the sessions are 45 minutes to an hour. And, you know, I would say majority, I've been so blessed with amazing clients who are on my vibration. That's what I ask for, so that I can actually serve them and make them feel good. And my biggest thing is that you walk out that door and you feel hopeful, happy, healing processes happening within yourself. I really strive to make sure my clients feel happy when they leave. And sometimes they've had to stay a little extra, because I'm like, okay, let me, you know, hold on a second. Let's come this back. And then they'll say, well, I'm glad I saved the extra 10 minutes because I really needed
Right.
that extra little step, you know. But the thing is, when you have a psychic that's accurate, people know you're right, if that makes sense. They're
Absolutely.
not constantly being like, what do you mean? You know, what is that? So if I can read your past, then at least we're on the same vibration.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
ChristineNicole.net.
Good. That's what we're going to see. She read my mind. She knew that I was going to ask that next. I want how to get a hold of you. Of course, is you go to ChristineNicole.net. But is there a phone number or anything else?
There is. My office number is 928-848-7246, but you book appointments online and everything.
All right,
so.
absolutely. So good. That's amazing, honey. That you have these amazing gifts, and I just love it.
Well, thank you
everything
for
you
having
do.
me.
Oh gosh, honey, we got to do this again. I mean,
You're
there's so
two
much
of
more.
my favorite people, so
Thank
I'm
you,
very
sweetheart.
honored just
You're
to
one
be
of
in your
ours.
guys' presence as well.
Thank you,
Thank
sweetie.
you.
We're honored to have you here.
Thank you.
The interesting thing is that Cindy and I have kids your age that are your age.
That
And it's
is, your age, yeah.
your age.
Yeah.
And it's like we're sitting here going, it's like, gosh, she's so beautiful and everything. But what you carry about yourself and that is you fit everything. You fit in with everybody.
Thank you.
And it's not your age that makes who you are. It's what you carry around. And it's amazing, honey.
Well, I'm an old soul, so
Oh,
I've been
absolutely,
here
honey.
a few times.
You
and
have.
I like hanging out with adults. I mean, more like as a teenager, adults more than my own age.
Right.
I did the same thing
you're
as a
not
young
calling us
child.
adults, right? Don't call us adults. We're not adults. I'm
We
still a
just
kid at
said
heart.
our kids are her age.
I know, but I'm still a kid at heart. My kids are more mature than I am.
I know, right?
And if people got one thing out of this, I really hope that you fill up your own cups. I know a lot of people on here right now listening are these wonderful love, light people that really want to send love, but make sure you're sending love to yourself, please. Make sure once a week at least you're doing something just for you, even if it's a day to yourself, it's a day to get your nails done, roller skating, anything. Go do
Amen.
you. You deserve it.
Absolutely. ChristineNicole.com or
.net.
.net. Sorry,
.net.
ChristineNicole.net. Yeah. .net. Yes. She's a very amazing woman. That there'll be
Yes.
more information on our podcast information. So how to get to hold of her and everything else. As I always say, you are loved and I am blessed. Have a blessed day. Thank you, Cindy, very much.
Thank you, Rod, and especially you, Miss Christine Nicole. You're just a delight and a love. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sweetie.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Have a great night, honey.
Love you.